What's going on, everyone? So, welcome to the latest video of our collective top 100, where the three of us came together over the course of 4 live streams to come up with our top 100, which was not an easy task. In fact, you guys can watch those 4 videos and then come back to this, but we are going in alphabetical order. So, next up is Blade Runner, a 1982 film, and we will also be talking about Blade Runner 2049, which will be in the next live stream, which will start right after this one. So, stay tuned for that. But I am, of course, joined with Marv and Sergey. Fellas, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Amen.
Amen. Marv, I know you're probably happy because the Eagles are going to the playoffs, as I predicted. So I know you're probably happy about that. I think $10 is. I think you owe me $10, right?
I never bet you.
But Blade Runner, the 1982 film that, for those of you that don't know, is about a Blade Runner who must pursue and terminate 4 replicants who stole a ship in space and have returned to Earth to find the creator. This is a film that stars, of course, Harrison Ford as Deckard, Rutger Hauer as Roy Beatty, and then, of course, Sean Young, Daryl Hannah, Emmett Walsh, and is directed by Ridley Scott, the same director that previously up to this point had done Alien, and honestly, it's probably what got him this job. But I have a really interesting relationship with this film. But before I start with me, let's go with age first, which is Marv. What's your relationship with this film? Do you remember the first time you saw it?
The first time I saw it, well, I remember my boss at Digiplex. It's a movie theater in the small town I lived in about a decade ago, almost 12 years ago. He found out I was a movie buff, and that was my first job working at a movie theater. So I guess he had found out about who I was, and he found out that I wasn't a fan of Blade Runner, that I never seen it. So he stopped me mid-introduction. He said, "Listen, I heard you've never seen Blade Runner. That's a crime. You have to watch it." So he brought in his box set of all the cuts with the special features, with every disc, every cut, commentary, whatever. And he said he gave me the instructions on how to watch them and stuff like that. So I took him home. I watched it, and we had like a rivalry after that. It was a weird thing. I tried to be friends with him, but for whatever reason, I don't know. We just never clicked like how I thought we would. But
did he prefer like the theatrical cut or something?
I don't remember. I remember that he told me to watch that cut first, though. So I watched it, and back then I was more of an explorer phase where I'd always loved movies my entire life, but around that time, I guess 2012 to like 2017, I was kind of like in a seek out certain different things more as exotic stuff. And even though it wasn't really my cup of tea, I still appreciated watching it.
That was my prayers for that to happen again.
Say it again?
I'm kidding. I said that was my prayers for it to happen again.
Never mind.
Exploring exotica stuff. Oh, dude, I got you.
But so like that was the era of movie stop, of me just like picking out like IFC films. That was the era of like me finding out all the old classics and watching them. Like I remember I watched Suspiria right before that. A lot of different old movies, and just like a lot of indie movies that I wouldn't otherwise watch. So I would say that I never really like loved it like a lot of other cinephiles do. But when Blade Runner 2049 came out, and we'll talk about that later,
yes,
I was able to gain a more of an appreciation for it because I actually like that movie. This movie, I wouldn't say I like it. I won't crap over it, but I wouldn't want to watch it again. I will watch 2049 a couple times. But I think it's how I described it to him and he agreed with me. It's Star Wars for adults in the sense that it came out around that time, and it kind of had that otherworldliness to it, but it was for grown-ups.
Sergey, do you remember the first time that you saw Blade Runner, or was it
I think it was like early years in high school, and at the time I wasn't ready for these kind of slow burn films, so I was not into it at all. I kind of appreciated the world that it was building, but at the time I was more into like mainstream kind of movies, newer movies. definitely nothing in the like 80s. It was like very sporadic. Like I would watch Alien, of course. That was like a rare instance where I would like something like that. So that was just like a movie that I came to appreciate over time, with just more patience, more more viewings of other classic movies and other sci-fi films. I think at the time I watched Star Wars. So I think that might have been like an older film, and even Star Wars. Initially I thought it was just okay. With more like subsequent viewings, I would mature and get into those type of movies. So Blade Runner, until like recently, it wasn't like something where my grade changed like within the last 5 years, really. I remember watching the sequel and liking the sequels a lot, and thinking that that was the movie I was going to always return to. Like, I would always appreciate the first movie, but it's like there's nothing ever drawing me back to it. And then with this last viewing, I think that it's actually going the other direction for me, which is kind of interesting.
I love that, man. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love film as art form is that your relationships with certain films can change over time, or sometimes in smaller fractions. Like for you, your journey sounds, I would say, similar to mine, except that I was lucky enough to have the great movie ride at Disney. RIP that ride. It was a fantastic ride. It's what really got me into movies. I'll never forget getting that book where it's like top 100 movies and seeing Blade Runner was on that list. And I remember I did the morning announcements, at Council Rock South, and the critical viewing teacher, him and we would always talk, and he would always tell me how frustrated he was with his students for not understanding Blade Runner and for not actually being challenged by it. So me being me, of course, I was like, okay, I need to check out Blade Runner. Like there's all these things that make me want to check it out. And immediately I was caught up with the spectacle of the first like half hour. But I watched it way too late at night. Like the middle act, I was falling asleep and I woke up to a certain character getting shot and flipping around, and I was like so confused. I was like, what is happening? And then I saw the famous monologue at the end, and I immediately said to myself, okay, watch this earlier on in the day, and I'm sure this will go from like a good film to like a really, really good film. And I have the text, or I should say the Facebook message. I saw this for the first time in January of 2014, and then 3 months later, I watched it in April. And I told my one friend, I rewatched Blade Runner today. Such a great movie. Truly thought-provoking movie. I wasn't tired today, rewatched it, and liked it a lot more. And it's been added to my top 250 list. And it's gone from top 250 to now it's top 25 for me of all time. Similar to you, Sergey, it's a film that grows with time. I've always loved it since 2014. But the sequel, I feel like, enhances a lot of elements of this. But I think what I really like is how there are so many different ways of reading into the film. We'll, of course, talk about androids and certain theories once we put up the spoiler warning. But yeah, I love
you talked about people not being challenged by the movie. I think I had the same like mindset when I was watching it. Like I didn't understand what the point of it was the first time, because I had like these clear cut characters that I wanted to follow. Like here, there's the good guy, there's the bad guy. That was like what I was exposed to in sci-fi. And then here we have these more like morally gray, complex characters, because the villains, you kind of understand why they're acting the certain way they are. Like
yeah.
if you were in their position, that probably would be how you're thinking or viewing the world. So they're not these cardboard cutouts of villains that you would normally see in other like big epics that you would normally watch. So I think that was what was challenging. I'm like, well, who are we supposed to be going against, really?
Well, and that's the other thing. Unfortunately, one thing I forgot to mention is that he's the critical viewing teacher said that he got frustrated because his students didn't like the fact that they were being challenged and didn't understand it. And that's one of the reasons why he pulled that and like Fight Club from the curriculum and instead showed like Goodfellas, which is fine. Goodfellas is good. We've established that. It's a good movie, but
Great
it's not really challenging. You can throw it on
fellas.
Goodfellas is good, but it's one of those films where it's very entertaining. It's a brisk watch. That's fine. But when you're teaching critical viewing, you do want to try to challenge people. So it's one of those things where it's a shame, but I get it. 16 to 18-year-olds, I get it.
I mean,
For
I'm
me,
curious to revisit Goodfellas. I mean, I remember really liking it, but
it's
having seen Casino earlier this year, I don't know. I might have it beat.
maybe I'll rewatch Goodfellas as well. I mean, as I've said on the record, no Goodfellas, no Boogie Nights, and you both know how much I love Boogie Nights. So I'll always be grateful for Goodfellas. But I will say I did kind of have a leg up to my fellow students because I grew up watching noir. So right away I was able to see that it was taking the noir architect and implementing the sci-fi genre. But up to that point, I mean, I couldn't really say for sure that sci-fi was something I loved. I mean, I grew up in a household where we didn't really even watch Star Wars per se. So I was still kind of wetting my whistle, if you will, in terms of sci-fi. Like,
So you watched Star Wars after this?
no, I had seen Star Wars prior, but like I watched it out of order. So it was like
I mean, I watched
didn't
it
have
out
the
of
same.
order too.
Yeah, I think I watched the sixth one first, which is
The sixth
hilarious.
one. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
it's hilarious.
I mean,
But
I watched
there's
the
a-
third one.
I think, let's see, I think for me it was 6, 4. Let's see if I get this correctly. 6, 4, 1, 2, 5, and then 3. So the third one was the last one of the first 6.
It was
So it was a
3,
weird order.
3, 2, 1, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, that's better. That's a better word.
I was confused out of my mind watching it. I'm like, why are these? Well, at the time, I didn't know. Like, I didn't take a look at when the movies came out. I'm like, why are the effects just like look different?
Well, that's the thing. I know it was meant to help, but then the Roman numerals honestly confused me because I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. So 4, 5, and 6 they were made first, but 1, 2, and 3 are made after. So I'm like, I couldn't get it in my head. I'm like, how did they know ahead of time?
In middle school, I just couldn't wrap my mind around that.
Me too. But Blade Runner, thankfully, when it came out, as far as they knew, it was going to be a standalone film. I think it broke even at the box office. It did get 2 Oscar nominations. Off the top of my head, I believe it was visual effects and production design. Let's fact check myself. Art direction, and visual effects. And honestly, the interesting story about Blade Runner is that when it came out, sci-fi was booming that year. You had E.T., The Thing, Blade Runner, and I believe there was a 4th one. But those are 3 pretty big sci-fi films that are considered classics. But The Thing and Blade Runner did not do well financially. E.T., of course, did. And it makes sense because people at that time, they wanted something very comforting and everything, not something where it's like, well, here's a lot of, blood and guts that's also challenging, humans and everything. And then Blade Runner is a film where it's like, okay, there's no real clear-cut answers, especially when that one came out, where we'll talk about the theatrical cut, but it was something where it wasn't for everyone. So there was a niche audience. Thankfully, both of those films, The Thing and Blade Runner, found their audiences, but E.T. was a slam dunk right away, and it won Best Visual Effects, which I understand why, but I do wish Blade Runner had picked up a visual effects win because the visual effects are insane in this film. I don't know if either of you saw it on 4K, but my word, it's amazing. Like, holy cow. By the way, we also have hold that thought. We have a couple comments from Trison. He says, "Hey y'all, good morning from Vietnam. On a family trip for New Year's, so I got some time to chime in. Good to hear from you, man. Hope you're doing well. As we're going into the new year, happy to have you as a subscriber. Thoughts on Odyssey and Disclosure Day trailers? Marv, I'll let you take this away first. What are your thoughts on both trailers?
I don't know what Disclosure Day is.
Oh, new Spielberg film.
Yeah, I haven't seen the preview for that. But as far as the Odyssey, I'm excited. I'm very excited about that. I'm going to watch Troy before I go see it. And I can't wait. That's one of the few movies that I'm actively excited about watching. I can't wait to see it.
Sorry, did you see either trailers?
I did not. I mean, I know I'm going to watch these movies. There's no reason for me to try to sidestep and kind of ruin the experience. I just want to know nothing. I'm already seeing some I guess people annoyed at the Odyssey and costume design choices.
Oh,
whatever. It's his vision. This is how he's envisioning this.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be historically accurate. In fact, a lot of these epics aren't anyway. It's
yeah.
not
Braveheart's not historically accurate, but
well, here this is not history. This is like a Homer epic.
It's a Greek poem.
mythology.
yeah.
So I don't really expect it to be historically accurate.
I think what you just saw was just the internet being the internet.
Yeah. Well,
They'll
it's
be-
the
They'll be there on that opening night, like everybody
yeah,
else.
yeah.
So
New powerhouse directors. I'm excited to see both.
Me too. I mean, I usually avoid trailers, but in this case, I'm like, all right, two of my favorite directors. Let me check them out. Hot take. Marv's going to kill me. Probably going to show off the live stream. Odyssey trailer. It's okay. It's not bad. I'm still pumped out of my mind. Disclosure Day. Getting Super 8 vibes. Digging it. That's all I need. I just need the teaser trailer. I'm on board. I'm sold.
See, that's why I don't watch any trailers.
Why?
Just expectations that you set for yourself.
Well, that's not expectations. The Super 8 trailer is one of the best. I mean, it literally just creates like a mystery. Like,
the Odyssey did nothing for you though.
Which is fine. Because I already know that I'm probably gonna really like it because just everything about it seems like something I'll like. But it just goes to show, like, in terms of like marketing wise, though, I think Disclosure Day has a lot more prowess. But Odyssey is going to do a lot better because Christopher Nolan at this point is a name brand. Spielberg, unfortunately, isn't as much. So
He would be a name brand, and he is a name brand. He just does. He just keeps doing stuff, and that dilutes the brand.
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. The only recent ones that I wasn't a big fan of was BFG. Yeah, I would say that's probably
Fine. For kids, that was fine.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but it especially on a rewatch, I was like, it was just okay. But
I mean, that's what he does. He does either average or very good, and you can expect him to be like this consistent director producing movies.
I'm also just especially excited for Disclosure Day because it's probably going to be John Williams' last score.
No.
And it's a sci-fi film. So I think in some ways it's a full circle moment because Jaws is what got him his Oscar win for Best Original Score. But Close Encounters was such a huge impact in the 70s because of John Williams' iconic score. So just feels like a full circle moment. Not a Marvel fan, so I'm not going to care much for the Doomsday trailer. That trailer is absolutely
that
was
killer.
That was bad. That was
You
bad.
guys suck.
You know that was bad.
Marv, you know that was bad. Come on.
I don't.
We can make a better trailer than that.
We'll make one right now.
It did what it was supposed to do. It whet the appetite. People are talking. Let's
I don't
go.
know, man. I don't know.
I know. It's going to be great. I'm
It was
excited.
information we already knew.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that Chris Evans was coming back. I knew it was alleged, but they confirmed it. They said, yeah, Cap is coming back.
They could have just done an article on it and I'd be just as satisfied.
No, it hit different in the movie theater. Let's go.
It was dead silence in the movie theater.
It was,
I just
but
couldn't believe it was the same cinematographer that did the cinematography for Drive. I was like, okay. Okay. I've only seen Blade Runner once last year. While I've always loved 2049 since it came out in 2017. Stay tuned for 2049 because we will be talking about that in the follow-up live stream from this one, I promise. First one is incredibly philosophical, in my opinion, but I'd rather rewatch the second one for its entertainment value. I think you would share Marv's sentiment then because he would agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, though, because I saw Blade Runner probably a half a dozen times up until 2049, and I still didn't give it a 5 out of 5. It's going to sound weird. I always said Blade Runner was better, but I had Blade Runner 2049 as higher. I had Sergey's favorite rating 4.75 out of 5 for Blade Runner for the longest time. Like, it wasn't until the 2020s where I'm like, okay, it's a flawed masterpiece. Just slap on that 5, and it's a 5 out of 5 now. But Blade Runner 2049, I think it was the second viewing. I'm like, 5 out of 5. It's one of the best of the 2010s. it's going to last a lifetime. And it has. And I think the original really, really has. Not only just because of how much it's changed over the years, like we'll talk about the theatrical cut. There was a voiceover. Harrison Ford infamously was not happy with the voiceover. He tried to botch it, and they still went with it. And then they also took, and Marv's going to appreciate this, they took footage of, you guys remember the mountain footage in The Shining, like the very beginning, like the aerial footage?
Mm-hmm.
So they spoke to Stanley Kubrick because he had just finished The Shining and everything, and they asked him if they could use that footage, so that way they can make a happy ending. Do you know about this, Sergey? Because it's absolutely terrible. So I'm gonna put, for those that need to know, we'll do a spoiler warning. So the ending, instead of having it where instead of having it where Deckard and off the top of my head, sorry, 1 second, Deckard and Rachel, instead of having them go off and it being ambiguous as to what happened to them, it randomly cuts to the mountaintop footage of The Shining and how they're in a car and they're looking at each other lovingly, and then the movie ends. So it's very clear cut. They make it out. Everything's okay. And also just is so jarring because you have all this rain-drenched cinematography throughout the film that all of a sudden randomly it's so bright and it's like, what is this? And then you have voiceover too. It's so bad. It was bafflingly bad.
I never saw that, thankfully.
Well, if you ever get curious, I think it is on YouTube. It's not good.
What is that? What is that called? Like, what cut of that?
So that's the theatrical cut, I believe.
That's the theatrical cut?
Yes, yeah.
That's what everybody saw when that first came out?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow. Well, I guess I never saw it.
That's good then. Because
I think I've always watched the final cut then.
I was talking to Marv about it. I've seen all 3 cuts. There's the theatrical cut, of course, with the voiceover and that bad ending. Then there's the director's cut, which they changed some footage towards the end. Randomly, the sky opens up and it's like a little bit bright, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Then the final
origami stuff, was that missing in one of them?
I believe, I want to say one of the, I do want to say that the theatrical cut omits them. And the reason why I say that is because there wasn't really any questions on if he was or wasn't a android, if I'm not mistaken. Let me actually just double check, because again, I've only seen the theatrical cut once. So I'm not 100% sure between the differences, but now I'm very curious. Let's see. 1 second. All right, so I got it pulled up. And also, I'm reading right now. It also just seems like the final cut adds several seconds to scenes, which I think really adds to the atmosphere. Color grading is also different from the final cut to the director's cut. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. The final cut and director's cut both apparently have the unicorn. The unicorn, it looks like, is not in the theatrical cut.
Okay.
Which is
pretty important.
Yeah. That's
because there's the dream sequence where he sees the unicorn, and then the unicorn origami thing, which is what makes you question, whether he's an android or not to begin with.
Yep. Yeah. So, and that's a pretty it's a pretty big deal. Also, some of the blood. It looks like some of the blood was cut out of the theatrical cut, so there was added.
Was that to make like some PG rating or something?
I don't think so, because it had always been rated R. I think it might have just been because the scene itself, they cut it for they cut it because they weren't quite sure how the studio was going to react, is my guess, but I'm not 100% sure with why they had those cuts, to be honest. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like some of it's violence too. Like apparently the nail through Rory, like that was something that wasn't originally in the theatrical cut. So it's some pretty big changes.
At this point, I would expect Ridley Scott to have a director's cut of every movie.
It's very weird how such a proclaimed director is someone that doesn't seem to have final cut. It's very weird. Or am I tripping, Marv? I feel like all of his movies get director's cuts.
Napoleon, did that ever get a director's cut?
Napoleon, Kingdom of Heaven, Robin Hood.
Did you watch Napoleon?
I
The
did.
director's cut?
Not the director's cut, not yet.
I mean, I don't see anything really improving that movie, but
Apparently it's like an hour long.
I watched the director's cut and it sucked.
Oh.
As much as the theatrical?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, visually, it's a stunning movie. I cannot take anything away from that movie.
It
But
just
the story,
it's just bad story
like,
all around. He should have retired like 15 years ago.
I don't want to say that.
I do.
By the way, Streisand says I didn't know the original had so many cuts until after I saw it, so I'm not sure which version I saw. I just knew there was an ending with the unicorn origami. Yeah, that was I believe that was the director. I think director's cut and final cut had that. Hello, fellas. Bootzilla's in the chat. Hello, fellas may have already answered this, but is this for Blade Runner and 2049? No, good question. Around the 45-minute mark of this one is when we're going to end this one, and then I'm going to share the 2049 one. But we will be talking about both today. Kill two birds with one stone before the end of the year. And did Marv like the movie? That's always very important.
I think Blade Runner is a well-made movie. I think it's okay. I don't want to watch it.
He's
ever.
being held at gunpoint saying that.
I don't want to watch it ever again.
Ever again.
Ever again.
Wow.
It's a good movie. It's a good, well-made movie.
Marv, could I say what I said earlier
Go
about
ahead.
the lighting?
Go ahead.
All right, guys. So I thought this was funny, so I'm like, let me briefly mention this. So earlier today, Marv had texted me saying that he's watching Blade Runner and that, it's just not hitting the same way. He thinks it's really boring. And he sent me a picture of like the screen and everything. And instead of answering all that, all I respond is, dude, why do you have the lighting on and everything? He's like, that's what you got from it. I'm like, well, it's kind of hard it's like pretty obvious. Like there's lighting all over in the other room. I'm like, I was perplexed just because I'm like, this is such a dark film. Like, I'm like, you don't have all the
I'm
lights off
perplexed
for
that
this
you're perplexed.
Were you Harrison Ford, where you just kept zooming in and seeing something you weren't supposed to? You see Marv's phone in the reflection of the TV.
Oh, you're talking to him. Okay.
Yeah. No, I was surprised. I don't know. I guess just because usually I try to have all the lights off when I'm watching a movie, but
that's you. Everybody doesn't do that.
From like Blade Runner.
Did you see subtitles?
No.
I think I probably would have had an aneurysm if I saw subtitles combined with.
I had the volume turned to 100. I didn't need subtitles.
Had it to 100?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Do you have a sound bar?
Not here. No, it's at my dad's house. At my dad's house.
This is just stab wound after one stab wound after another.
I said I have it at my dad's house. What else do you want from me, dude?
We had it at 100. Okay.
I want you to watch it for the 22nd time.
No.
Not subtitles, with the subwoofers and everything.
No. I'm okay.
I heard a lot of people flag in the original with the problematic scene of how Decker gets intimate with Rachel. Now it can be viewed in modern context as forceful. I mean, it definitely is. I don't think that's really a question. Was it okay? No, but I think that up to that point, it's kind of been established that Decker isn't exactly a good guy. I mean, it's taking from noirs of the 40s, and that's something that I could 100% see Humphrey Bogart doing in any one of the tens of hundreds of movies that he did in the 40s. So I can get what you're saying, though, because that was something that I kind of had a difficult time grasping at first. But when I looked at it a different lens, I'm like, okay, I see why they did it, but it can be kind of odd in some cases. But the score by Vangelis, though, holy cow, what an incredible score. Easily one of my favorite scores of all time. Uzilla says, eye gouging scene, I think it's director's cut. Yes, I don't think that was in the theatrical cut.
It's in the final cut.
Well, final cut and director's cut, I think, are pretty similar, except with like color grading and then certain cuts being extended, from what I understand. I've only seen the actually no the final. So I keep getting confused with the final cut and director's cut. Let me see what the 4K has. 1 second. Okay, it is the final cut. Okay, I was so confused. Fun fact: I almost got the I think it was like a 4-disc set, or no, it was a 3-disc set where it came with all 3 cuts, or no, all 5 cuts. It looks like, but it went out of stock and then it went out of print, so I just never got it. But I'm glad that was the case because the 4K ended up coming out, and then I ended up picking that up, and it was awesome. It's actually insane, though. Sorry, I'm looking. They have a 3-disc edition. It's the final cut, original theatrical cut, international theatrical cut, director's cut.
That's the one that's out of print?
The Blu-ray. It has all those cuts.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wish they would do a 4K like that, because even though I'm not a fan of the theatrical cut, it would still be cool to have. It's like a token of history, because that's the version everyone saw in 1982. So I do have to give some grace to audiences. Like, I'll sometimes blame audiences for things, but that's one case where I'm like, okay, I got to give them a pass, because if I saw that in 82, I probably wouldn't have loved it the way I do with the final cut. So there's some grace to be had. Favorite scene, Marv. What was your favorite scene of the movie? And I got the spoiler up, so you can, if it involves spoilers, you can mention it.
I would have to say it's probably the scene you were just talking about. The scene with Rachel.
Oh, the scene where she's being forced upon?
Yeah, because I thought that scene was pretty like edgy. Like, I liked it because, as you know, I told you earlier that I thought she was the most interesting character in the movie. So, and I think that she's gotten older now, so we'll just give her some grace, but she was a fox back then. So the way they shot this movie, it kind of reminded me of like a mid-90s music video, and like kind of like a emo 90s rock band music video. So in that scene, you have Rachel. She's like kind of like hot and muggy, kind of sweaty, right? And you see Deckard. He wants her, right? He's so into her. He's like, "Tell me to." What did he say? Tell me to put my hands on you, and like, tell me you want me to kiss you, or whatever he said. However he said it. And I was like, I know why he fell in love with her. This is why you did what you did, and whatever he did in 2049. We'll get into that later. But I was just like, yeah, you got to get one, Indiana Jones. You got to go ahead and tap that. I was very, very happy to know that Sean Young is like a staple in like 90s cinema. So I'm going to be watching some movies that she's in, so I can, just get a better look at her. All I know her from is this and Ace Ventura. So
Oh, wow.
I'm very excited to, check out her filmography.
It's funny you mentioned 90s music videos, because I'm sure that in some way, shape, or form, those music videos were inspired by this film, because
For sure.
In the same way that this film was paying homage to Metropolis, Star Wars, 2001: A Space Odyssey, it changed everything for the next generation. I mean, you can see this film. Matrix, Dark City, 100%. Those films were influenced by this film. And it's great to see these kind of staples of sci-fi be that influential. My favorite scene is probably the scene that Marv and I were talking about on the phone, which is the I would say the Tears in the Rain scene. I know it's at this point kind of a given by a lot of people, but that scene, not only is it what got me to want to rewatch it a second time in the first place. But it really made me think about it, where it's like, yeah, you don't know how long you're going to be on this earth, but it's like, what if you did? What if you knew that you only had 4 years? What would you do? And through these four characters, you see them all go about it in different ways, and they all fall short, unfortunately, because at the end of the day, whether you're an android or you're a human, you're going to die. And I just think that scene between him and Deckard is just so poignant, because I think Deckard, in many ways, realized that yeah, I don't have much time, and I have longer than 4 years, but I should just do what I want and what the person that I think likes me should do. And they go and they run off. I don't know. It really clicked with me, especially upon multiple viewings. So like, I love that scene. I love the music. I love the production design, the rain. Just, it's so perfect. And we'll talk about that musical cue in 2049, because it does tie into the themes that Marv and I were talking about earlier. But Sergey, what's your favorite scene in the movie?
That would have to either be the first time he's interrogating Rachel, just seeing her calmly answer everything that he's asking, because he asked apparently 150 questions. So it's either that scene or the scene in the doll room with Pris. I think she was one of my favorite characters, and because she played the character so well. Like, it was very gymnastic I mean, it was just like an unsettling scene. So I really liked that. I was impressed by her performance there. And then right after that, we get into this action sequence. So that's probably one of my favorites.
Both are great choices, and both tie into the eyes. Like, eyes are a big thing in this film, and I love the reflection of the eyes that the lighting has.
The orange, robotic.
Yeah, it honestly reminds me of I know neither of you have animals, but it reminds me of a pet, like cats and dogs. Like, if it's in the right lighting, you can see that kind of look to it. And I'm pretty sure they were probably inspired by pets, but it was very, very fascinating to watch that film.
Well, at one point we see Deckard with those kind of eyes, so that was another cue that he's not human.
Before we get into 2049. Watching this film, now I know this is going to be hard to do because we've both seen both films, but when you guys saw this film, and I'm saying only this film, like pre-2017, did you guys think Deckard was a replicant or not? I'm very curious.
I thought the placement or the origami and then constantly cutting to the different shapes was trying to challenge me to tell me something, something else. It was, if it's so ambiguous, it must not be there must be something hidden here. And that would be the only real mystery of the movie. So I think that's what really brought me back to it, is just to kind of cipher the message of the movie. That's really what brings me back to the movie, is the ambiguity of it. So I always thought he was, an android. It made sense. There was enough clues throughout that pointed in that direction. But I mean, I like not having the answer. Not everything. You don't need to have an answer. I mean, that's what made it so interesting.
That's what makes any great art interesting. The fact that it brings about discussion. Marv, what about you? Did pre-2017, before 2049 came out, did you think Deckard was a replicant?
Thought it was a human.
Really? Okay. Any reason why, or just because it seemed that way?
Just seemed he was human. I thought that maybe he might be a replicant after 2017. I still think he could be a human, but because of Agent K, I think that if really Scott told me he was a replicant, I'd be like, okay, I get it. Hold on.
Well, remember, I'm just saying pre-2017, because we'll talk. The conversation will be full once we have once we talk about 2049. That's when we can fully discuss post 2017. But just pre-2017, you thought he was human. I honestly thought that he potentially was, just because of the origami, just because they were saying that a lot of times you're dreaming about those type of things. They're like implants. he's someone that's constantly drinking. So it's like maybe he's, drinking that way because he knows he's killing his own kind, or maybe he doesn't even know, but he is having all this baggage that was given him as like an implant. Again, I can see the argument though that he is a human, that he's just doing his job, that he is just a typical noir character of like a drunkard. But I do think that there's evidence on both sides, and I think especially when he looks at the origami and it's like he's just looking at it, and it almost seems like that detective knows, and that's one of the reasons why he like plants it and everything, because he does that with other crime scenes as well.
Yeah, because if he had this dream, how would the detective know about it? And I think that was the biggest giveaway.
Yeah.
Not like he openly talks about his dreams to people.
Yeah, it's not like he has that scene where it's like, let me tell you about my dream the other night. It's like, it was some kind of unicorn. Yeah, it was that was kind of what was tipping it for me. I'm like, I suspect that he is, but
and then they mentioned it, how far they've come along to making these replicants, and how Rachel doesn't know that she is one, or like the scientist. So I mean, that also made me think, oh well, maybe he doesn't know who he is.
Which, by the way, great introduction scene to finding that out, where it's like, how does it not know? And it's like,
I mean, I thought of Westworld while rewatching it this time. It's like the parallels.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Westworld, because for me it was perfect timing. I was introduced to Blade Runner in 2014, instantly became at that point my favorite sci-fi film. It's number 2 now, but that happens, and then you have 2016, you have Westworld, and then 2017 you have 2049. So for me, I'm like, okay, I do like sci-fi quite a bit, especially sci-fi where it's like challenging you. That was also when I like rewatched Minority Report, and I'm like, oh yeah, I actually love Minority Report. It's great. But we have a bunch of comments. Actually, before we get to the comments, and then we get to the 2049, I'll put the link down below for our other subscribers. Ratings. We'll start with you, Marv. What do you give Blade Runner?
I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Fine.
1 out of 10.
what's out of 10 more?
It's a 6 out of 10.
You know what?
Don't make me challenge my math, Marv.
You
Just give it a 6 out of 10.
I feel like I'll go with 6 out of 10.
Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay.
I was going to give it a 7, but then I had to remember that I really wasn't. I was just bored, so I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Sergey, what's your rating?
It's gonna be like a 2001 Space Odyssey thing where it went 3, 4, 5.
Let's go. Welcome to the 5-star club. I have it as a 5-star out of 5 film. Or for those that 1 out of 10, I give it a 2 out of 10. No, I'm kidding. 10 out of 10. I'm sorry, I had to. Bryson says, by the way, my favorite music video of all time is Say Something by Justin Timberlake 2018, and it was filmed gorgeously as a one take in the same hotel they used for Blade Runner. Really? Have either of you seen this music video?
No.
I will be honest with you guys. I'm very ignorant when it comes to music videos. Like when I think of music videos, I think of that hip hop style of editing. So the fact that there's a music video where it is one long take, that is honestly amazing. And I'm very curious now about checking it out. So thank you. I should check that out. Let's see. Tears in the Rain scene is goated. Absolutely agree. Can't Articulate is in the chat. He says, hello all. Can't Articulate, good to hear from you, man. Bootzilla says Tears in the Rain, my favorite, but also like Decker interrogation of Zora and then killing her. I love that sequence. Yeah, that's a great scene too. Honestly, all the interrogation scenes in this film are just so interesting. It's a very absorbing film, and it's very moody, meditative, and just really makes you ponder about life, as you and I discussed earlier, Marv.
Mm-hmm.
Since I saw the sequel first, the question of Deckard being a replicant or not isn't relevant to me because the point of these movies is the universality of the meaning of life for both races. Yes, I did mention that to Marv, how it's one of those things where anyone can really relate to these questions that are being voiced on both the androids and humans. And in many ways, if he is an android or not, I mean, a replicant or not, it's kind of beside the point because he's still dealing with existential questions that the replicants are as well. So it is fascinating. Godzilla, the heartbeat sound in that Zora scene brought some tension too. Yes, I agree. By the way, I'm going to be putting in the link for Blade Runner 2049 for the live stream. We're going to be ending this one and then starting with the 2049 one. So, guys, stay tuned for that. And we will catch you guys on that one.